This is a painting by Mino Maccari of Gerarca, a prominent member of the fascist party. Maccari is an interesting figure within Italian culture, a key figure in the strapaese movement of the 1920s, which tended to idolize the rural and actually a violent part of fascism, identifying in particular with the rural element in fascism, the fascism of the ordinary peasants, particularly of Tuscany. And Maccari was certainly very much a supporter of the regime throughout most of the 20s and the 30s, but clearly by the time he does this picture in 1942, he, like many people who up until then have been quite strong supporters of the regime and Mussolini, is aware that the regime is effectively on the way out. I think what's perhaps interesting here is that the focus is on the fascist party official. You can see the uniform there, the eagle. Is it supposed to be Mussolini? It's conceivable. The features aren't obviously those of the Duce, but it is very much a sort of mask-like face, rather than human face. The eyes aren't clearly delineated. So it could be Mussolini, but perhaps more likely it is just a leading figure in the fascist party. And I think by 1942, anger in Italy was growing increasingly towards party officials, towards Mussolini to a degree, though perhaps not as much as one might expect, but certainly towards leading party officials who were widely seen as corrupt, people who hoarded food, for example. There's a lot of popular anger which exploded on 25th of July, 26th of July 1943, after Mussolini fell. A lot of public anger is directed towards Gerarchi, leading party officials, who were believed to have been hiding food, benefiting illegally from the war, doing far better than other people during the war. So a lot of popular anger towards the party. Indeed, if one looks at the kind of chants and slogans that were going around in the cities in places like Milan, 26th, 27th of July, it was very much the language of anger towards what was seen as a corrupt party, towards the ladroni, the big robbers in the party, and a lot of attacks on the houses of Gerarchi, ransacked because people believed that they'd been hoarding food and so on and so forth, often quite rightly so. There was a lot of corruption in the fascist party. So, in a way, I think what you could say Maccari is focusing on here is a growing sense of dissatisfaction with the regime, but that dissatisfaction focused primarily on the party, a party that is seen as corrupt, a party that is perhaps largely responsible for the disasters of the war. So the party, rather than specifically Mussolini, but clearly lurking in Maccari's mind, as the minds of many people who have supported the regime and supported Mussolini up until then, is a question of to what extent is Mussolini himself responsible for this total disaster that Italy has descended into.